have tried everything to change: gratitude journals, affirmation in the mirror, just think happier thoughts, and cutting out negative people, reading the books, listening to podcasts, doing your work, and you are still stuck in the exact same loop. Same time promise to start tomorrow. Same argument you are having with someone who isn't even in the room. Same 3 seconds of threat the moment you open your eyes. So here's the thing nobody tells you. Changing your thought was never the answer. This isn't a mindset problem. It is not even a real discipline problem. It is a wiring problem. And once you understand the wiring, you stop blaming yourself for something you are never actually in control of in the first. I have spent the last few years pulling apart neuroscience, habit, rumination, and self-sabotage. Not as an academic exercise, but because I needed to understand why I could know exactly what was good for me and still not do it. Why just think positive made things worse, not better. So I went looking for the actual mechanism, not the advice, the machinery underneath all advice. There are four things running underneath every habit loop you can't seem to break. Four mechanisms working together completely outside your awareness. You will be stressed by a fourth pillar. Once you can name them, you stop fighting yourself in the dark. So let's get into it. Pillar 1, the autopilot, the default mode network. Here's the concept in one sentence. Your brain has a network that switches on the moment you stop focusing on a task, and it never actually goes quiet. It is called the default mode network. It is the reason your brain is never truly off, even when you feel like you are doing nothing. Think of it like a car radio that never fully powers down. Even when you are not consciously listening, it is still playing in the background. You are washing dishes. You are driving the same route you drive every day. You are half listening to a friend talk, and your brain isn't resting during any of them. It is narrating. It is replaying yesterday. It is rehearsing an argument that hasn't even happened yet. Here is the rule number one. The quieter the task, the louder the autopilot gets. The less your hands and eyes are occupied, the more room there is for the internal monologue to take over. And here's the rule number two. Whatever you rehearse the most is what your brain starts treating as you, not what you believe intellectually, what you repeat daily. This is why someone who is ambitious can't stop thinking about their next goal, even on the vacation. It is why someone dealing with anxiety can't stop scanning for the next threat, even in the completely safe room. It is not your character. It is not weak willpower. It is a network doing exactly the job it evolved to do. Pull your attention back to whatever pattern has the deepest groove. I notice this most clearly in when I'm brushing my teeth. Same three thoughts in the same order, almost every single morning for months. That's not a coincidence. That's not just how my brain works. That's the autopilot running a loop I never consciously choose at a volume I never noticed until I actually started to paying attention to it. Researchers have found that some of the brain's frontal regions are actually more active during so-called resting than during focus tasks. Your brain works harder when you think you are doing nothing than it does during some tasks that require real effort. That's the autopilot humming in the background of literally every off moment of your day. So the summary you need from pillar one is this. You are not thinking about that thing because you are broken. You are thinking about it because the network is doing exactly what it was built to do. And it was built long before overthinking at 2 am was a problem it needed to solve. Pillar 2, the groove, repetition and automation. Second element, and this is where it gets personal for almost everyone watching this. Neurons that fire together wire together. Every single time you repeat a thought, an emotion, or a behavior, you are not just doing it again, you are carving the path a little deeper. Picture a hiking trail through tall grass. The first time you walk it, there is no path at all, just grass bending under your feet, sprinkling back up in the moment you are gone. By the 100th walk, there is a visible groove in the third. By the 1000th, it is not even a choice anymore. Your feet just go there. Even if you consciously want to walk somewhere else, your body defaults to the groove. This is your nervous system with every habit you have ever repeated. Your relationship patterns, your response to criticism, the way you talk to yourself after a mistake, all of it started as grass. All of it's now a groove cut by nothing more than repetition. Rule. Repetition doesn't just reflect your habits, it manufactures them. The brain isn't storing a belief about who you are. It is storing a well-worn path, and it will keep choosing that path even after the belief has changed, because paths don't dissolve just because you disagree with them. This is why the diet doesn't actually start on Monday. Why you know with complete clarity exactly what you should do, and you do the other thing anyway. It is not because information is missing. Nobody watching this doesn't know that late night scrolling make their sleep worse. The information was never the problem. The path is deeper than your intention. This is the problem. This is also why if you have lived with depression once, it becomes so much easier to return it the second time. Not because you are doing something wrong, but because the path already exists. The summary from Pillar 2. You cannot outthink a growth. Thinking harder about a path doesn't erase it. You can only build a new one on purpose by walking it enough times that it eventually becomes easier than the old one. There is no shortcut here. That's not a metaphor for effort. It's a literal description of what has happened at the level of the your nervous system. Pillar 3, the judger. Self-criticism is the brain's default setting. Third element, and this one explains almost every fate. Just be positive attempt you have ever made. Your brain prioritizes self-judgment over nearly any other category of thought. Not curiosity, not admiration, not natural observation, judgment, especially self-judgment gets first access to your attention. Think of it like a smoke detector that's tuned way too sensitive. It doesn't just go for actual fires, it goes off photos, for steam from the shower, for a candle 3 rooms away. Your inner narrative runs on the same logic. It was built for survival, not for accuracy. While one that's slightly too relaxed gets you killed. So the rule, the brain would rather criticize you than sit in the discomfort of not knowing where it stands. Self-blame weirdly feels more in control than genuine uncertainty. I failed because I'm lazy is to your nervous system a more comfort booster than I failed and I genuinely don't know why. Because the first one at least gives you something to fix, and this is the part almost nobody wants you about. The actual reason, just think positive, collapses under real pressure. You are not fighting a bad mood with a worse mood. You are fighting a smoke detector doing exactly just badly for the modern world you are actually living in. You can't shut down a smoke detector in the being less sensitive. You have to understand the mechanism. Pillar form, the sensation switch, the one thing most people skip, fourth element, and the one almost nobody talks about. Your body already has an off switch for all three of mechanism above, and it's your sensation. When you actually feel your feet against the floor, the actual temperature of the room, the specific weight of a cup of in your hand, the narrating, judging, looping part of your brain quiets down. Not because you thought it to shut up, because rumination and raw sensation cannot run at the full volume in the same moment. They compete for the same bandwidth, and sensation, when you actually give it your attention, wins. So the rule, you were taught probably as a child that sensation is a waste of time unless it is useful for something. Focus, pay attention to what matters. Sensation get filed under distraction, and that exact belief that noticing your body is somehow lazy or indulgent is precisely what keeps the autopilot volume turned all the way up for your entire adult life. This is the piece that actually changed something for me, not another thought thing my way through. A doorway out of thing entirely. Something as small as noticing the actual temperature of water while washing dishes does more to interrupt a spiral than another out of trying to reason your way out of a mood ever did. Sensation isn't the reward at the end of doing the work. Sensation is your real body mechanism. Here's the formula sitting underneath everything we just walked through. The deeper the path, the louder the judge, the harder change gets. But sensation access is the real changer. Turn it up, and it shrinks the effective power of the other two without you needing to win a single argument with yourself. And here's the twist, the thing that reframes this entire video. You have been taught that the goal is to think your way out the loop. It's not. Thought was never the excess. Thought is the thing the loop is made of. The actual thing, the one input that guides the path and the judge at the same time is your sensation. Everything else, the affirmation, the willpower, the just decide to be different was trying to out argue a mechanism that doesn't respond to arguments at all. Here's exactly what I would do starting today. Pick one thing, brushing your teeth, your first sip of coffee, the walk from your door to your car for 60 seconds. Do nothing but notice your sensation, temperature, texture, weight, sound, nothing more complicated than that. It takes doing this daily consistently for weeks before the new path starts to feel easier than the old one. There is no version of this where 3 days of trying requires anything. The path doesn't care how motivated you feel today. It only responds to repetition, same as it always has. So tell me in the comments, what is the one moment in your day where your mind genuinely never shuts off? I read every single one and it directly shapes what I make things. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. Thank you for listening. I love you.